Hi, good evening everyone. Today is the day 45 of Gear Up Mains Answer Writing. In this week we are discussing the question related to science and technology. Today is the day 5th of the question of science and technology. In this session we are conducting the PYQ analysis from Monday to Friday at 6 p.m. So let's see what is the question for today. The question is, stem cell therapy is gaining popularity in India to treat a wide variety of medical conditions, the given leukemia, thalassemia, damaged cornea and the several burns. Describe briefly what stem cell therapy is and what advantage it has over other treatments. So means the overall the question is about the stem cell therapy, but we need to be specifying the conditions of thalassemia, in the case of damaged cornea, in the case of leukemia and the burn. These are the 4 conditions given here. So in the body part of the question, we will focus on the stem cell therapy. Therapy related to these 4 diseases, the leukemia, thalassemia, damaged cornea and the several burns. These are the 4 cases given in the question. So we need to be right about in the 2 lines about the each case related to stem cell therapy. Then the second part of the question is saying what advantage it has have. What is the advantage of the stem cell therapy over other treatments, like the other treatments, allopathic treatments, operations, donation of the organs? How this stem cell therapy is having the advantage over those therapy. So in the second part of the question, we need to be list down the advantage of stem cell over the other type of the treatments. So this is a simple question about the stem cell. What are the advantages of stem cell? But in the case of these 4 diseases, we need to be list down here. Okay. So in the introduction part, we will write about the stem cell. Exactly what is the stem cells? Stem cells are the undifferentiated cells. We will define stem cell. These are the undifferentiated cells which further mature and differentiated into a different type of organ, different type of tissue, which are used for the repairing of a different type of the tissues as well, in the collagen fibers as well. So we can define the stem cell like this. These are the undifferentiated cells which are further differentiated and mature into a different type of organ, and which are also used for the treatment of the various kind of diseases like the leukemia, like the thalassemia, and even in the case of the cerebral burns. These stem cells are also used to repair the different tissues in the body. So this is the definition of the stem cells. So you can directly in the introduction itself, you can write the definition of the stem cell. That's the question demand, simple. After writing this stem cells, if we know the diagram, the stem cells are the cells we use for the development of each organ of the body. So we can show the organ of the body. So representation can be easily increased here if we are showing this diagram. Stem cells are used specifically for the blastocyst, neuron development, epithelial cell developments, red blood cell development, fat cell development, enterocytes development, cardiac cell developments, chondrocyte developments. Means there is no cell which cannot be developed by these stem cells. So we need to be addressed like stem cells can be used for the development of the each kind of cell into the human body. So we need to be write this. So these stem cells have the applications. These cells have the applications in the generation of all these kind of cells. So you can draw these kind of diagrams, and you can draw a simple diagrams and can write these cells are used in the generations of the different kind of cell. After making this diagram about the stem cell, you can tell about the working of the stem cells, how the stem cell works. There are 6 stages for the stem cell therapy. If there is any therapy for the stem cells, there are majorly the 6 stages. In the first stage, stem cell move from the bone marrow to the bloodstream. We are taking the stem cell from the bone marrow in some treatment or some disease, and we are moving those stem cells using the chemotherapy or the growing factor, the synthetic growing factor. We are taking these stem cells from the bone marrow, and this machine collects. There is a specific machine which collects the stem cells and separate out the stem cells here. Then in the artificial medium, these are frozen, so we can introduce these stem cells again into the body of the human being. So in the case of the stem cell, we are storing out these stem cells and we are introducing again into the human beings for the generation of the different type of the cells, or for the repairing of the tissue also. So at the 4th step, the chemotherapy used to partially wipe out the bone marrow. So we are taking all the cells, and through the infusion process, these stem cells are introducing again into the human being. And finally, the body recovers after the 3 to 6 months. So it is necessary to represent the diagram related to the stem cells, how the stem cell therapy works. Initially, we define the stem cell in the introduction. We write about the application of stem cells, how the stem cells is used for generations of the various kind of the different kind of the cells, even the blastocyst, even the cardiac cell, erythrocyte, enterocytes, epithelial cells, neuron. Then we are showing about the stem cell therapy, how this therapy works. So we are taking the stem cells from the bone marrow, we are culturing them we are frozening them into the medium, we are introducing again into the human body, and after the treatment, the person can be recovered after 2-3 months, and there is no longer medication required after the recovery. So this is the process how the stem cell works, stem cell therapy works. Now, according to the question demand, we need to be focused on these 4 diseases. We need to be right about something about leukemia, that's blood cancer, thalassemia, a genetic disorder in which the blood is not clotting after the injury. Then in the case of the damaged cornea, how it's developing the collagen fiber. Then in the case of the several burns, how the stem cells are used in the repairing of a tissue. Now we need to be right about these 4 diseases in a very short manner. So let's see how they are used for the treating these kind of diseases. In the first case, in the case of leukemia, we can say in blood cancer. In the case of the leukemia, we are taking the stem cell from the umbilical cord and the placenta. We are taking the stem cells from the umbilical cord and the placenta, and through this process, through the process of the stem cell therapy, we are treating the leukemia in the human beings. So we are taking the stem cells from the umbilical cord and the placenta, and we are treating the leukemia in the human beings through the stem cell therapy. And it's an easy process for the treatment of the leukemia in the human body. Then in the case of the thalassemia, thalassemia is a genetic disorder. It's a genetic disorder in which the blood lack of the R+ factor, known as the hemorrhagic factors, in which the blood is not having the clotting factor. Commonly we can say the blood is not having the clotting factor. So we are taking the stem cell from the cord blood stem cells, and that will be introduced into the human body so that it is having a hemorrhagic factor which will help in clotting the bloods. So in the case of the thalassemia, we are taking the stem cells from the cord blood stem cells, and then we are treating the thalassemia disorder. Otherwise, it's a genetic disorder. It's not easy to treat with the other methods. And through the stem cell therapy, we can easily treat the thalassemia disorder. Then in the case of the damaged cornea, we are taking the stem cells from corneal stromal stem cell. There is a specific name is given to it, corneal stromal stem cells. And that corneal stromal stem cells help in developing the collagen fibers. This help in developing the collagen fibers means help in recovering the damaged corneal tissue. Damaged corneal tissue which will help in the treatment of damaged cornea. यहाँ पे corneal tissue को collagen fibers के treatments के लिए stem cells का use हो रहा है. So they are treating the damaged corneal tissue through the stem cells, and by these corneal stem cells, this is a tissue which can be easily repairable by the use of stem cells. And the therapy is almost the same as we discussed here. The therapy process will always be the same for the all type of the treatments here. And the next is the treating the several burns. In the case of the, means we can say that tissue damage is here. In the case of the several burns, there is a tissue damage. And through that tissue damage, we can say the stem cells can be easily used, and the stem cell from the skin. We are taking the stem cell from the skin, and that stem cells are used for the treating the several burns. So these are the four areas, even in the case of the leukemia, even in the case of the damaged cornea, in the case of the damaged cornea and the treating the several burns, the stem cells used for the treating these disorder. And where in the normal treatments, it's not easy to treat these kind of disorder, even it's a blood cancer, the leukemia, even it's a thalassemia, which is a genetic disorder, even it's a case of the damaged cornea and the skin, several burns on the skin. These disorder can be easily treated by the stem cell therapy. And we are taking the stem cell from the different places according to the requirement. In the thalassemia, specifically, we are taking the stem cell from siblings. We are taking the stem cell from siblings, so there is a very less rejection or no rejections, so it can be easily treatable. It is known as the HLA factor. HLA factor. It's used for treatments. Now, we discuss about what is the stem cells, what the application of stem cells. Then we see about the therapy, the stem cell therapy. Then how the stem cells can be used in the treatment of these disorders which are specifically mentioned in the questions: leukemia, thalassemia, damaged cornea and the several burns. Now it's time to discuss the second part of the question. The second part of the question is specifically asking us about how this therapy is advantageous over other type of the therapy. How the stem cell is better than the other therapy. Stem cell therapy is better than the other therapy. Now see, what's the advantage of this therapy we can see here. Advantage of the stem cell therapy. It's a less invasive treatment. Less invasive treatment means in the other type of therapy, we need to replace the organ. We need to be operate. We need to take out the kidney from the one person and we need to be introduced into other. Even in the case of the bone marrow, in the most of the cases, there is required a bone marrow transplant. Required the bone marrow transplantation. Bone marrow transplantation. In the stem cell therapy, this is not required. It's a simple process. Using stem cells, we are adding the new stem cells which will help in the generating the bone marrow, and the patient will be treated within 2, 3, 4 months. He will be recovered from the disease from the 3-4 months. Self-renewal property. This is the major property of the stem cells. These are having the self-renewal property. If there is a damage, they will repair themselves. they are having a self-renewal property, they will renew according timely. And for these therapy, there is very less clinical trial is required on the animals, whereas for the treatment of the other type of the drugs, the other type of the disease, there is a clinical trials are required on the animals. So it's also prevent the cruelty on the animals. It's a less invasive treatments, the operations not required much, self-renewal property, they are the self-generative, we are saying these are the undifferentiated cells. These are the undifferentiated cells and differentiated into the new organ, new cells, new tissue, differentiated into new cells, new tissue. Treating the incurable disease. Before the stem cell therapy, we are not able to like treating a disease, leukemia, Alzheimer, Parkinson. These are diseases which can be easily curable by stem cell therapy. And this therapy is having the low side effects, means the less rejection by body, where in the other cases there is a more rejection by the body. So it's also having the less side effects due to the less rejection. Then in the case of the reduced recovery time and the high success rate, in the another kind of the treatments, the person require for treatments for longer time, like the 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5 years, and the continuously taking of the drugs, the continuously tablets going on with together. Tablets पूरे साल भर चलते रहे. But in the case of the stem cell therapy, there is a treatment time, like we can say 3 to 4 months. The person can recover after 3 to 4 months, and there is a no prescription, and there is a no use of the tablets after the treatment. And this therapy is high success rate as comparison to the another kind of the therapy. So these are the side headings you can use in your answers when you are writing about the advantage of the stem cell therapy, but you need to be right about the examples with these subheadings. Less invasive treatments, renewal property, negligible clinical trials, treating incurable disease, low side effects, and reduced recovery, and has the high success rate. So we discuss what is stem cell, what is stem cell therapy, what's the application of this therapy, how this therapy can be used in the treatment of leukemia, thalassemia, cerebral burns, corneal damage, and how it is having the advantage over other kind of the therapy. Now we left with the conclusion, what we can write in the conclusion. In the conclusion, you people can directly sum up. You can directly sum up by giving the applications, by writing about the applications of the stem cells. This is a field in which research and development is going on. And after a discovery, it's seen that the stem cell therapy can treat the most kind of the rare disease as well. It can also use in the treatment of those diseases which cannot be early treated, like the we can say the Parkinson, we can say the Alzheimer. So you can conclude, you can sum up the answer, you can sum up about the stem cells, the usage of the stem cells, which will help in the treating the different kind of the uncurable disease. So simply you can conclude, there is no much like we can say complex conclusion is not required here. You can directly conclude the answer. So this is all about the today's questions. Let's see again. It's about, question is about the stem cell therapy. It's gaining the popularity in India. And the question is just asking about the thalassemia, leukemia, and the several burns, how it can be treated by the stem cells and its advantages over the other cells. Then we discuss about the stem cells used in the like cardiac, they can be converted to cardiac, enterocytes, blastocysts, neuron, epithelials. Then we say about how this process works. What's the stem cell therapy? Exactly what's the working of the stem cell therapy? Then we discuss about how the leukemia, thalassemia, cornea, and the several burns can be treated from the stem cells. And finally, we discuss about how this therapy has the advantage over other therapy. And this is the core demand. This question has the 4 demands, so we completed all the demands. In this question, we break the question into multiple parts. and address the each part. First about the stem cell, then the applications, then we address about how the stem cell therapy works, then we comes to the different diseases which were mentioned in the questions, then we write about the advantage of the stem cells, and this is the required, and this is required. If you're breaking the question into multiple parts, it's become easy to write. There will be a coherence in your answer as per the demand of the question. If we start writing without breaking the question or without the brainstorming, we will be end up like we are writing about the advantages. We are not writing about the applications. We are not addressing the disease. So that coherence will be missed. Even in some of the cases, students are missing about the one part of the question itself. So if you want to answer the complete demand, please try to break up the questions. Try to understand the question exactly what's the question demanding. Okay, so we completed the 45 days. In this week, we discussed the question of the science and technology. So in the weekend, you people can revise these questions. You can write the answers of the questions. Till 45 minutes, we almost covered the 45 topics of the UPSC. After watching these video, you will be able to understand how to address the question, exactly what is the demand of the UPSC. If we are not focusing on the breakup of the question, if we are not focusing on what exactly the examiner is asking, if we are not understanding exactly what's the demand of the exam, so finally we will be end up like writing anything in the answer. Okay, so we will meet on Monday with the new topics, with the new question related to the different subjects. Till then, please try to revise, try to write and submit your answer to the Edukemy portal. Under the master program, your answers will be evaluated by our experts. Okay, thank you everyone. Happy weekend. Thank you.